Hello guys and welcome back to Clockwork Noodles. Now, it has been a while. If you weren't on a Discord channel, I have basically been out for a little bit. I had laryngitis. Initially, I thought it was COVID. It was been not the greatest and I'm slowly regaining my voice. This is going to be me getting a video out of the way. As for the catch-up, there's going to be trickling through episodes. When I can talk, I'm going to get them done. Try not to push myself too much, but I don't want to fall too far behind because there's a lot of new anime out there and I want to talk about it. Hello and welcome to Clockwork Noodles. This is the breakdown. We're going to break down episode 3 of Vivy. It's been an amazing 3 episodes. If you're going by the first 3 episode rule, if you want my opinion, you should definitely be watching this anime. Definitely love it to pieces. Let's get to it before we go on. Make sure you are subscribed. And of course, there's a Discord channel so you can keep up to date with things like my health and whether there's going to be delays or not. Let's go. Let's do it. We're going to jump straight back into a visual. And the visual is our timeline. And the reason why I really like the idea of using a visual to show you time jumping, the time scale, the whole timeline, is because stuff like this, an anime which deals with different roots, multiverse theory kind of thing, they can get really bogged down. They can get really confusing. So being able to see it physically, so when we go down the list and we eventually hit the next step on our journey and it jumps across to a new timeline, it's us branching out. We can literally see us branching out into a different world where this is the next event to be altered. We've already altered one event. It's time to alter a second event. Our OP is really, really great. A great way of just showing us walking through the scenes, showing us the locations that we're dealing with. And it's great. I do have to say over and over again about this anime. It's beautiful. This anime has got some beautiful artwork. In case you forgot that Wit can't draw, it can. Wit is a studio which actually prides itself in looking beautiful. Most of its animes look good. The OP actually gets to show us Vivy on the stage for the first time. I think last time we saw her, she was performing to an empty crowd. This also allows us to show that time has passed. She now has a bit more of a crowd. We know that a bit of time has gone by and Vivy is now quite popular. It's a nice transition into the episode and it's just a very nice seamless way of getting us straight into the story. What does it mean to sing with all of your heart? This is going to be something we are experimenting with all the way through this anime. It's the idea of AIs and whether they simply follow a program. Do they actually have the ability to sing with their full heart? Can a machine give its all? But it's a nice way to develop Vivy's character, to show us that she really is thinking about this. And this has been a topic she's been thinking about for nearly 15 years because, yes, indeed, we've had a time skip. Why do I think the time skip works? Most of the time, anime and time skips, they do it just to power up, jump ahead a little bit, just because they need to get to the next part. In a plot like Vivy, where you've got 100 years, this is a 100-year mission. Not all that time between those 100 years is going to be important. There's going to be days where nothing happens today, nothing important happens. So you don't want to show your character doing that because it starts to bog down the plot a little bit. It's been 15 years since our last event, the plane, and saving Awaka's life. So this is a great way of basically saying, we're now here. This is the next step on our journey and we've moved ahead a little bit. It doesn't draw any unnecessary information into the plot. It doesn't make it too long. And it's a great way of keeping the action and the pacing snappy. And I think I like that about Vivy. It's very snappy. 15 years has passed. We now know that Vivy is singing on stage still. She's now drawing in a crowd. And we've also been told that our Virus Teddy, as I like to call him, Virus Teddy has been inanimate. He doesn't need to be awake during this 15-year gap. A bit like us, the audience. We weren't privy to the last 15 years, neither was he. Again, coming in to admire, look at those beautiful, beautiful eyes. We actually get some information on how Vivy went back to her job without raising suspicion after basically getting completely wrecked. Part of that being Virus Teddy's fault because he's the one who basically helps her lose an arm. Information is given that he sent her to be repaired. It's not too exposition heavy. He basically gives us that information in a conversation. So it's not enough to make our plot feel heavy, but it's just enough to give us the information we need. So we're also told that the naming law has not been passed. So we're now officially in a new timeline and we visually saw that right at the beginning of the episode. The anime also realizes that the one event was not also enough to change the future. What I said last episode was I was worried that stopping one event if it was meant to happen, it will eventually find a way of happening. The anime realizes this. The anime is quite self-aware of this problem. So we're now going back in to do something else. So with Vivy's actual actions, what actually happened that day, and the inspiration that she caused in Aikawa, the new law was passed, and the new law actually does the same thing that the naming law does. The naming law may not have been passed, but essentially the same thing was passed. And this is the whole idea of if it's meant to happen, it will happen. Are we still heading towards the future of a war? Because that still gives the AI the same rights as the people. It gives them more rights. It gives them a bit more of a higher standing in society. Virus Teddy tries to address that the accident that happened with the plane was just an accident, that there's going to be many of them. We simply don't have enough time to mop up all the casualties, sit down and stop every accident from happening. And plus, you're going to start going into a paradox situation. What the teddy bear is aiming for is just one thing to change, and that is enough to change so that there's no war at the end of the story. But Vivy wanting to save everybody could essentially give us a future which is very different from our own. He does say that we're now at a new singularity point. There is another anime this season airing with the SP, the singularity point. That is the Godzilla anime. And yes, if you did not know, there is an anime out there airing right now with 3 episodes out about Godzilla. So if you're into that thing, definitely go and check it out. But it's now time, guys. We are going where no man has gone before. We're going to space. How I am so excited that this episode takes place in space. It's a future that hopefully will happen for us eventually. Not too far out of our belief that it's going to happen. But it's great that we're now going to the next frontier, the final frontier, that is space. Info is given to us in a nice little way about space developments. Whilst this is being given to us, we also get to see Vivy sneaking herself into space. So we get world building, showing us as well how she actually gets where she needs to be. I do have a few questions. How is she going to explain her absence to the park? So is she going to be able to brush it off and go, oh, I have something to do? Because you're technically an AI, you don't actually have other stuff to do. So how are you going to explain your absence? She's clearly taken time to go off to do these things. And I think this mission in itself is 2 days. At least we can say that she's away for about a week. I don't know how quick it takes for them to get to space. I think roughly to get to the moon, it's about a few days, I think. Last time I checked, it might have been 2 or 3 days to get to the moon from where we are. I also don't know how high up in space these guys are. They might just be like Elon Musk type thing of the hotels just on the outer layer of the Earth. So maybe it does take a few hours. We are introduced to the idea of space tourism and on hotels. This is not too distant from where we are right now. Look at how far Elon Musk has got, and we've got the idea of SpaceX. I think it's something that we can definitely consider will happen at some point. Going back to Vivy sneaking on board and starting to blending with the crew. I love the fact that they draw attention to tiny details. The world building details such as water and food is a precious resource because, logistically speaking, getting food to a space hotel, that must take a fair bit of time. I like the fact that they've covered these bases as well, saying, everything's precious, we can't waste any of these items. We get to see the behind the scenes of them running around, getting all these bits and pieces into play. And then we start to get a glance at a particular character. He hasn't appeared in the rest of the episode, but I do wonder if he is an antagonist and perhaps there is a plot going on underneath the seemingly given plot. So we are actually given our baddie at this point. So we are basically told this person is bad, but it does seem that there might be something else going on along the background. We get our introduction to Estelle, and if you are loving the artwork, make sure you add Wit Studio to your Instagram follow list because they've been posting some really pretty line art for all of the sequences you're seeing. And they just posted a really nice one with Estelle. Definitely telling you guys, go and befriend Wit. Do it. It's a good way to see their artwork go behind the scenes. The moment with Estelle and trying to bond with one another, I think is quite nice. She tries to help Vivy settle down. Also, Vivy in glasses looks amazing. Love it to pieces. It's just a really nice moment of trying to see her, get her to smile. And we haven't really seen her smile too much apart from when she's on stage, but that's because she is following a program. Estelle is shown to us as a sister, a director's successor, but also a defective AI. She is going to be the one apparently to crash the Sunrise, the hotel we're on, and kill everybody. I like the attention to details that they would make upgrades, they would make a newer version of something, like the phone you're probably looking at or the phone that we have. You know, eventually there's going to be a more upgraded version coming out perhaps next year. So all of our phones are related to one another in a sense that that technology is then newer. We are introduced to the AI archive once more, and what I didn't get to say last time is Vivy ends up in a school uniform, and it is clearly a music classroom that we're in. I like this because it shows us her as a student. It's her learning. You know that the archive is going to be teaching her all the things that she needs to know. All of her knowledge has come from the archive. In a sense, all our knowledge, most of our knowledge, about half of it, comes from being taught our knowledge by someone or in a classroom. She has learned a lot from this place, so I like the fact that we visually see her as a student and this is a classroom. And of course, the topic she's learning is music because she's singing at Android. It's what she does. A virus cube showing itself in its cube form for once gives us our lowdown. He gives us all the footage of this new event. He shows us the crash, so we know there's going to be a crash coming up. And we also get to see Estelle being the one to blame. She's the one to blame. She's apparently faulty. But the info surrounding the crash seems a bit patchy. It's a possibility that maybe the man we saw before, he's going to have something to do with it, and then he pins the blame on her, trying to get AI as being seen as a bad thing. We know that Toke, the anti-AI group, is about. It's a possibility that he's going to try and show AI to be this very bad thing. What do we gain from an AI crashing and killing a hotel of people? Well, people suddenly think AI is bad. People will go, oh, maybe it's a bad idea to have AI running things. So I think even though the anime is trying to pin Estelle as our baddie, and especially with the events at the end of the episode, I do wonder if that the anime is being very cleverly trying to force your opinion and that it is actually going to be down to the guy that we saw. It's also a possibility that the media doesn't know the full story. The virus cube gets its information from the media, and the media don't always have all the information to hand. They weren't there. We don't know what happened. Our mission is to stop Estelle, stop the Sunrise crashing and killing everybody. The crash apparently also starts to tilt and puts a bit more hatred towards the AI. However, it also starts the aggression towards them. So we're trying to balance. We're trying to keep a balance right now. So even though this crash is a good thing and it makes people see them as bad, it starts hatred, and that eventually leads to a war. So we're trying not to make the war happen. I like that Vivy is always trying to see reason. She also tries to think that maybe there was an outside force. The cube simply tries to see the simplistic solution. He sees that the clearest way to ensure this doesn't happen, just kill Estelle. Estelle was the one who apparently crashed it. So he just simply sees that as his goal. He sees a simple line, whilst Vivy tries to see the logic. She says, well, maybe there's something that led to this. What can we do to stop that happening? Is there a way of stopping the crash and saving Estelle? This next scene makes me really want to go to space. It looks so fun looking at this happening. We are introduced to a character called Leclerc, and she also had some line art go up recently on Wit Studio, their Instagram. Go check it out. She's able to also give us a link to Estelle. Leclerc links Estelle to the previous owner, and she also tells us that she doesn't quite trust Estelle. She warns Vivy not to get close, but I also wonder if we can trust Leclerc. She seems to be a little bit shady. As soon as Vivy asks about Estelle, she kind of gives the camera a bit of an angry look. So I wonder. Vivy sneaks around and the cube ends up stopping her, and I do start to wonder, what does he not want her to find out? He definitely seems to be interfering with her quite a bit. Is it really just that he doesn't want her to cause any more damage? The soundtrack starts to build up really slowly. It is fantastic. It is gorgeous. Estelle finally gives us our story. Space really is just absolutely beautiful, but it's also terrifying. Space is scary, guys. But we can see that Estelle really seemingly loves her job. Vivy asks her the question, what does it mean to give all your heart? I like the fact that she's giving her this question, a question that she herself is trying to ponder. And Estelle gives us an actual answer, which starts to make you wonder, is she really faulty? Is she really to blame? AIs and the topic of hearts is going to be a main theme throughout this anime. and I like it because it really makes us think and it makes them think. We are interrupted by our alarm, but you can see it's not Estelle. Estelle is in front of us right now. Definitely can't be Estelle. But we get some world building. We capture the beauty of space, looking how gorgeous it really is. And the song that also brings on the credits, so sung by Estelle, we get a down moment. It's a low moment. The anime right now has been quite tense. This is our release of that. The song that also brings on the credits, sung by Estelle, I really struggle to think that she's evil. I think there's probably something ongoing behind the scenes. We get a beautiful art appreciation moment. Vira's teddy bear is not concerned by any of the possibilities that Estelle is innocent. Neither does he really care. He doesn't seem to care. And right at the end, we see that twist. The twist that maybe shakes my idea that Estelle might not be evil, but I'm not 100%. That twist where we see Momika's sister recognizing Vivy out in space. It was a bit weird to hear somebody actually calling her Diva out in space, because it's been 15 years and you perhaps think maybe it's a fan, perhaps. But she is supposed to be in disguise. It's not exactly the greatest disguise in the world. But it has a moment where we feel the feels. We feel quite sad. The hunch is correct. We see Leclerc is totally in on something, where we can see her meeting with Estelle at the end. And a double twist. Estelle kills her. Definitely puts an end to her as an AI. So my thoughts on the episode. I think Estelle might be behind the crash. I'm still not 100%. I still think my idea that Toke is behind it somehow. And I believe they're going to try and pin it on Estelle to essentially get the idea that AI are dangerous out there. They're going to try and make it look like the AI has caused lots of innocent death. There is somebody else on board that the anime definitely brought to our attention. Animes don't simply show you a random passerby for no reason. They're there for a reason. They're there to play a role. Whether he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time, I'm not sure. The art, the soundtrack, really bringing us the beauty of space this week, getting to see that really nice world building going on. The anime is also quite self-aware. It also doesn't take it lightly that one event is going to be a cure-all kind of thing. It knows that there's going to be a lot of different events that will lead up to certain big things happening. I like that. I like the fact that this anime is a game of balance. It's about keeping peace. It's about keeping all those AI under check, but not hating on them too much to cause an uprising, but not giving them enough power to cause an uprising. You need to keep them in the middle somewhere. Vivy and the AIs do show us a very realistic human response to one another. The fact that they interact, they can have fun, they try and joke amongst themselves. It's an anime which tries to blur the lines about AI. Often than not, AI visualized in any other story, they always stand out. You always know who the AI is, whether they act a bit jerky or they're not as human with their speech patterns. I like this fact that this anime, they're trying to make it feel real. There's often times if the AI didn't have the little glowing dot on the neck, I would probably struggle to tell you who's an AI, who isn't. Momika's sister showing up on the ship gives us a tie-in, ties us back to the 15 years ago, and it also gives a motivation to Vivy to save the ship. It gives her a reason to be like, yes, I have to save the ship. It might even give her a push to, if it comes to it, attack Estelle if needed. I still think there is a bigger plot going on underneath, and I think Toke is behind it, perhaps, and that man we saw definitely behind it. It's been a fantastic episode. I am really enjoying Vivy. I'm a very big fan of Vivy. Definitely, if you want more behind the scenes artwork, go and give Wit's Instagram a like. They've been posting some really nice artwork as well. So thank you guys. I also apologise. I do sound probably like an AI right now. I sound awful, but I am slowly getting there. I am having to record videos right now in segments. So I record in 3 chunks, giving myself a break so I'm not straining my voice too much. Thank you guys so much. I hopefully will have the channel up and running quite soon. Next video to come out will be Moriarty the Patriot episode 2, and then we're jumping into To Your Eternity. And it's been really difficult not to spoil that one for myself because I'm so excited to see it. And I've seen a lot of people crying, so I can't wait to cry with you guys. Have a good day. Make sure you stay safe and have a good one. Bye bye.